Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to the episode 189 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of March 1st through the 7th, 2021. My name's Tim Beeman.
My name's Ray Morgan.
And we are opening the recipe box. Whew, that's loud. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the lab. Not in the lab. We're not doing that. We're in the Less Desirable Studio South. We've been doing this for a year like this, and I still said that. The Less Desirable Studio South, a.k.a. my house. We are practicing social distancing and using Zoom, sponsored by Bull's Tavern. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, and others like that, we'd appreciate a subscribe to our podcast, a like, a follow, and a rating if you could do that. It would help us tremendously, more than you will ever know. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, welcome and thank you very much for being here. This episode of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Diamondback Grill. Diamondback Grill is casual dining located in the heart of Buena Vista in Winston-Salem and is a fantastic family-owned farm-to-fork restaurant that sources most of its ingredients from local farmers, helping the local economy and keeping you fresh food in stock, and that's good. Diamondback Grill offers craft cocktails as well, an extensive beer and wine list, and an inviting atmosphere. Try one of the theme nights. My mouth right now is watering just thinking of the Prime Rib Friday and Burger Saturday that they have there. Diamondback Grill is also heavily involved with their community. They are located at 751 Avalon Road. Find them on the web at diamondbackgrill.com and on Facebook and Instagram. And it is March the 1st, so happy Women's History Month to all of you.
Yay!
Last week, Governor Cooper lifted the stay-at-home order effective 5 o'clock on Friday. We had reservations at Sir Winston for the Rosso Steakhouse pop-up, and we noticed a shitload of people there. So I want to implore the listeners of this podcast, go out and have fun, but still realize that the mask mandate did not end at 5 p.m. on Friday. Wear your mask and be socially responsible. We're not out of the woods, and just because numbers are easing doesn't mean that they're disappearing. So we're not done with this, so be careful. We'll talk more about Rosso in just a little bit. The good news is, while it isn't really what they need with this mandate being lifted, the stay-at-home order, it is a step in the right direction for the bar owners. Mm-hmm. They can now open inside with 30% capacity, which breweries and distilleries and even restaurants with bars are still allowed 50%. Like I said, not great, but better than nothing. They also removed the cap of 100 people on the 30% outdoor space. But with the exception of one or two places here in Winston, that doesn't apply to Winston-Salem bars anyway. This brings me to our Zoom sponsor, Bull's Tavern. Danielle does plan on opening, but right now she's stalled for two major reasons. One, there is a drainage issue around the building she's in, and her basement is flooded. The landlord is working to resolve this, thankfully. The other issue is she has no refrigeration, so whatever is wrong with her cooler, you can't serve cold beer without a cooler.
Yep.
Seems like when it rains, it pours on Danielle, but she is badass, and she will recover because that's how she does things. Last Monday, with no warning to me at least, Brothers Pizzeria opened up on 4th Street where Twin City Slice was, or as I call the Twin Cities debacle. Real life brothers.
I was going to say that was a little bit of a surprise. It's like, wait a minute. Where does this place? Why are people posting pictures of this? Where? Never heard of them.
Yeah. So real brothers, Mike and Anthony Scotto, have been trying to open this for almost a year, and with everything going on throughout the past drag or year, as you want to call it, it was a long road to hoe to get opened. Mike used to work with Simon at BLL Rotisserie Factory, and Anthony is involved with Whitaker Square Pizza, also with Simon from BLL. And their dad is Ciro Scotto's fraternal twin brother, and Ciro Scotto is Maria Delicio's father. So they're cousins with the Delicios. So there's a my Italian family just grew.
I was going to say,
because
that's a lot of connections right
there. Yeah, because I am honorary Delicio, and I am honorary Vici Domini, and now I can be honorary Scotto. I'm happy with it.
The more the merrier. Good
That's
deal.
right. So I went in on Tuesday and had what they are calling a pepperoni roll, which is basically a small stromboli, and a pinwheel. Pinwheel, basically a pasta roll-up. If you saw my picture about that, that was...
I did. That looked really good.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. You could just use your hand, stretch out that cheese, dip it into the tomato sauce, and man, the flavors were fantastic.
Soft bread, little crunch around the edges.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks so tasty.
The pepperoni roll was also very good, but it was harder to eat because Brothers Pizzeria does not have a dishwashing mechanism in the restaurant. They have to use plastic utensils. And the utensils that they use right now are nearly non-existent. I even trying to open the plastic, usually I take the fork and I push it through, or the knife and push it through. It was bending. I went to cut into
your utensils in on the end of your arms, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I went in to cut the pepperoni roll, and the knife just twisted up to the side, and the fork was like this, and it did this. So yeah. So luckily, it's a smaller dish, so I could just pick it up and eat it that way. I pulled it apart and whatever. But the point is, the food was actually really good. And I know a few New Yorkers, and they have given their seal of approval, saying it is exactly what they've been looking for in a New York style pizza here. Yes. Well, they're from New Jersey, so they get it.
They should know.
Yep. But they have more than just New York style pizza. They have the Sicilian style, the stuffed pizza, and more things like that. The last thing I'll have to say is I didn't have the heart to tell them that the apostrophe in their name is in the wrong place. So, it's
the S?
No, this is brother apostrophe S. Like, it sounds like either Mike or Anthony are saying, this is my brother's pizzeria. But it's both of them in plural. The apostrophe should be on the outside. Brothers apostrophe. Now, I know I'm splitting hairs, but I'm also the grammar police, and it bugs me. But bottom line, thing that matters, the food was delicious. Go try them out. They are at, I don't know what the address is. I know it's on 4th Street at nearly the corner of Cherry and 4th. Right next to the new Mayberries, across from Jimmy John's and the Mystic Ginger Indian restaurant.
Caddy corner from Stevens Center as well, right?
No, that's 1 block away.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, that's Marshall. That's
Picture it all in my head.
That's Marshall and 4th.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
so a
Washington
block from the Stevens Center.
Yeah, it's actually caddy cornered, if we want to use that from. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is Washington Perkin Provision Company, located at 301 West 4th Street. So I think this is 2-something. You will find a little bit of everything at the Perk, a chip corner, a deli to make your sandwich, or not make your sandwich, to have them make your sandwich on the go. Local fruits, veggies, meats, and dairy from local sources. Bingo Bango sodas, Wolfie's custard. You know, the weather's getting ready to hit warm. a wall of beer and wine, and much more. Toiletries, peanut butter, plastic forks and knives. Maybe they can go over there and get some of those. Anyway, the Washington Perk is better than a convenience store, not quite a grocery store. On Facebook, they are Washington Perk, and on Instagram, they are Washington Perk _DTWS. So if you stand out in front of Brothers, you look to your left, you'll see Washington Perk right there. And Brothers does have the to-go window in the front, so people don't have to come in. And when all these orders are lifted and bars can stay open to 2 again, they're going to be open to 3 o'clock on the weekends.
Nice.
So
we've been saying we wanted a place to go and grab a bite to eat after we've been out for a while.
yeah, I mean, I know Burke Street Pizza does that, right? But people who are on 4th Street and may have had a little bit to drink and need to put something in their belly before they drive don't necessarily want to go over to Burke Street Pizza from Bull's Tavern, and they can.
A bit of a hike.
It is, so they can walk a block and a half to Brothers Pizzeria, Brothers apostrophe, and have pizza.
Did you see that Washington Park is also now going to be open later on Friday and Saturday nights? They're staying open until 11 now.
Good.
I saw a post from this past week. Was surprised, but it made a lot of sense, especially with some of those restrictions being lifted. I'm excited to see that they're going to be open a little later now on the weekends.
Yeah,
as well.
they used to be open till 11 o'clock every day. I don't know about Sundays, but every day, I think Monday through Saturday. And because when I was in that building with the Less Desirables and this podcast and other things, sometimes before the Less Desirables, I would go up and get, or even for lunch, I'd just go up and grab something. But they were a lot of times still open whenever I was leaving at 11 o'clock. So,
then they're returning to that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to hear it.
I found out this week that Papa Lee's Grill will be opening at 2600 New Walkertown Road. Now, if you think you've heard that address before, you have, especially if you've read my blog or listened to this podcast. 2600 New Walkertown Road is where Zesto's was. Zesto's is now officially closed. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I thought I was hearing that right, but I was going to let you get there.
Yeah. Papa Lee's is slated to have its grand opening on March 15th, and they say breakfast starts at 6 a.m. on April the 5th. So as far as I know, as of now, it's burgers, dogs, fish, and chicken sandwiches, breakfast coming shortly after the opening. I have reached out to Lee Price, but I'm sure right now, as he has even mentioned, that he is inundated with a lot of messages and friend requests, so I hope to get by to see him soon, so stay tuned for my report on that.
Well, I'm glad to hear that something is going back into that space. It's not just going to sit there vacant.
Right.
Because I do think there is a need for a restaurant like that in that neighborhood.
Yeah. Yep. And last Thursday, not to do with that restaurant, but this one, something different. Pie Guys in Clemens suffered a devastating fire.
Oh.
They will be closed for a while. Serve Pro is on the job, and our friend Ed Dean is handling that. I had someone send me a text on Thursday night before the news had even broken that it had been arson. A Molotov cocktail-style incendiary device was used, and they had already arrested a former employee for it. I swore confidentiality and did not, and still will not disclose my source for that, but it was all announced on Friday, so I wasn't spreading rumors or conjecture. Pie Guys is very popular in their community, so hopefully Serve Pro can make it like it never even happened, and really soon. So
they were doing some good food there. You're right; they were very popular.
Yeah.
You always hate to hear that kind of violence happening against anybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's just stupid. It's just pure stupidity. No matter how disgruntled you are, no matter how wronged you feel, it's not just the business owner that you're getting back here. You're paying back probably some of your friends who worked there. You're getting the people who own the building. What did they have to do with this?
Right.
You know, probably a couple, because it's in a shopping center, right? So there's probably a couple of other businesses that were at least smoke damaged involved. So I hope that he gets whatever he gets. I hope it's maximum whatever it is. If it's 5 years, I hope he serves 5 years and 2 months. That's just stupid.
I keep saying that if violence is the answer, we need a better question.
That's exactly right. Hops Burger Bar in Winston-Salem is also temporarily closed because not of a fire, but of a plumbing issue.
Oh, no.
They said on their Facebook page, and someone else had mentioned too, that it was a plumbing problem. They said that they're working with the city. So I don't know if this means it's something inside the restaurant or if it's something external. All I know is that they're closed until further notice, which hopefully isn't but a few days, or at the worst, a couple of weeks. As I know more, I'll post it or I'll talk about it here. So watch.
I mean, speculating, if they're trying to work with the city, it's either the water coming in or the water going out.
Probably, yeah. I mean, that's 50-50. Either he's coming in or going out. But yeah. I mean, I guess it could be 33-33 because it could be just plumbing on the inside once it's inside. So, yeah.
At that point, though, the city typically doesn't get involved.
Well, it could be the city, maybe, which I think would be more county related. I would say maybe the health department, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's something that's got them closed, whatever it is. So
we'll have to send our crack team of investigative reporters to find out what's going on and get back to us.
Yes.
As soon as we get that crack team of investigative reporters.
Yes. I will start building up the crack. And see if it attracts any reporters.
Oh, yeah, don't put that crack out there, please. Just
Say no to crack. Crack is whack. Carrabba's Italian Grill, located off Stratford Road, 587 Stratford Road, is no chain. Don't let people tell you that it's a chain. Yes, it's a corporate entity, but it's a responsible family of restaurants. Carrabba's and their owner partners take their communities that they serve very seriously. It's in their charter. They have to. And as anybody who knows anything about this town, we know that Daniel Butner, who is the local proprietario of the Carrabba's on Stratford Road, there is no restaurant owner like Daniel Butner. None. I love my restaurant
like him.
I do. I do admit that is true. I love my restaurateurs. I love my restaurant owners. I love my executive chefs. But I cannot. I mean, I know a lot that do a lot for this community. Mm-hmm. I think it all pales to Daniel. Now, you ask Daniel about it. Daniel says, well, I'm just doing what everybody should do. I said, you're right. You are. But not everybody does it. So that's what makes you awesome.
It's his personal charter to give back every opportunity he gets.
Right. I mean, he loves this community, and the reason he loves this community is because his family started this community.
Mm-hmm.
His family started Old Salem, which is where the Salem and Winston-Salem came from, if you had any questions. But Carrabba's also, it's not just the things that they do for the community. It helps a whole lot that their food is just delicious.
Yeah. It's really good
their
stuff.
steaks are some of the best steaks in town. Their chicken dishes are some of the best in town. So follow Carrabba's on social media and at carrabbas.com and tell them, go in and talk to Daniel. In 5 minutes, you'll understand why he is as awesome as he is. And tell him that the man who ate the town sent him. There are a couple of rumors about things coming to town. I don't know what is going on in the Hickory Tavern location off of Stratford in the Hanestown Shopping Center there. People have said something is coming. I looked at the Hickory
Did the
Tavern.
tavern close?
Hickory Tavern. Yeah, it's been closed since March of last year.
Wow. Okay. You'd think since I do this every week that maybe I would have known that, but I didn't
Well,
recognize that they had closed.
Well, I've talked about it when Leah, because Leah's here every other week. We talk about the list, and I made mention that I'm leaving Hickory Tavern on the list roster only because I don't know what's going on, and I can't say that they closed. I went to the Hickory Tavern corporate website, and it says that this location is fully closed until further notice. Does not mean permanently, at least in my understanding. And they looked forward to serving us again. I don't know if something new is supposed to be coming, if they're just rehabbing the space for Hickory Tavern's reopening, or what. I just know that there's chatter, and I hope to investigate. I have sent emails and messages to the local Facebook page, but I have emailed corporate headquarters, and of course have heard nothing. So I don't know. And I noticed that other places are open in their roster of restaurants. So I don't know if it's just ours, if it was underperforming when it went down. I don't know.
I had some indications that perhaps there was some underperformance that was going on prior to that. Again, that some of those were some confidences that I'll choose not to break. So I guess we'll find out something soon.
Oh, I heard that it was pretty crappy. I'm not afraid to say that I heard that, but
They weren't getting enough business for the size space, and in Stratford Road is some of the most expensive real estate in Winston-Salem. A brand new shopping center. They took an anchor spot. Yeah, they were going to be paying top dollar.
oh yeah,
So, yeah, if they're not going to reopen, man, I'd love to see somebody do something with that spot because it is a nice space.
yeah. I may have mentioned this a few weeks back, but there are rumors of a tapas place coming to or around the old Mooney's space on 4th Street. I know they have been rehabbing that space because I watch it as I'm sitting at Clementine's in Sir Winston. and in doing so, they have uncovered a couple of murals that had been there for a long time, but had been covered up over the years. If you walk by there, and it's all windows anyway, so walk by there and look at through the windows and look up. You'll see the murals on the wall above there. It's pretty cool to look at. I can't get any confirmation on what's going on in there. No one is saying. I asked the Sir Winston folks because I've gotten pretty close with them. They know nothing. Said they can't get any answers on that themselves. Someone did tell me, I don't remember who it was, on one of the food groups on Facebook that there was a tapas place coming near Mooney's, and that's all they could say. So that's all I can say because that's all I know. So Stephanie and I, as I mentioned at the top of the show, did the Rosso pop-up at Sir Winston, and this is a speakeasy steakhouse concept. The whole Roar thing is roaring 20s, right? So the concepts are all, not necessarily the concepts themselves are speakeasy like, but they're going on this. And this is one of the main attractions. This is not just the food hall thing. This is going to be a full-on restaurant. So the food was delicious. They had a few hiccups, and either fortunately or unfortunately, it happened to us. I say fortunately because we're around restaurants and restaurant people enough to know that shit happens. And I didn't care about the hiccups, and to me, it was all great. The hiccups allowed Stephanie and I to have a little longer to talk, enjoy each other's company, sip a few beverages, clink some glasses, all that stuff. And everyone also give the servers and everybody else the opportunity to come by and say hey to me. And, I don't mind that. it was really a non-issue for us. So much so that it doesn't even matter what the problem was. Let's just focus on the food. We started with the Gatsby, which was their take on deviled eggs with truffle oil and bacon jam.
I saw your pictures of that and it was like, ooh, I bet Tim was loving that because it reminded me of yours.
Yes, and the flavors were fantastic. The bacon jam and I'm supposing the truffle oil too really added a delicious smokiness to the egg, but also texture. It was the bacon jam was really crunchy, so that was great. As someone who puts bacon in his and its grease in his deviled eggs, I appreciated it very much. And we decided to get the Volstead Act sampler, which was a large sampler of meats split for two. Now, if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, I'm sure you've heard us talk about the Volstead Act. Ray, what was the Volstead Act? Okay, I'll tell you.
Was that the one where we undid the
No.
Prohibition?
It is Amendment 18 what started Prohibition. So I love the naming of this, the Volstead Act. So it was flat iron steak, filet, ribeye, and a blue crab bomb, which is like a crab cake, but not with all that crapping breading because I don't like crab cakes. It's just enough to bind it. I am not at all a fan of crab cakes, but this was my favorite part of the dish. All the meat was cooked perfectly as we left it to the chef as to how to prepare them. I said it's chef's choice. It all come out either rare or medium rare, just how I like it. We also had the coconut lime pie. Flaky crust with tart and acidic creamy pie filling, a filling with the toasted coconut whipped cream on top. Like I said, the whole concept is a speakeasy Prohibition-era steakhouse. All the dishes were named after either famous bootleggers, famous figures, or pop culture references from the time of the Volstead Act in the 20s and 30s, right? And I look forward to this because we need a full-on steakhouse downtown. And I'm not taking away from Cowboy. That's a different concept.
Right.
But a full-on steakhouse. So, Cowboys is still delicious.
There's places that do steak downtown that do it well.
Yeah.
But we don't have a full-on steakhouse. You're right.
Right. Cowboys is delicious. We love Joel and all the folks over there. But it's different.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank Joe, the manager, Chef Andre, Rebecca, who was our service server, Simon Burgess, who owns the restaurant, and everyone else over at Sir Winston for their hospitality. It was a fantastic time. And then yesterday, Stephanie, Trey, and his girlfriend, Trey's my son for new people, his girlfriend Haley and I went to Taste of the Triad and had great food, but also witnessed a recital of poetry, jazz, dancing, and an overall awesome human being, Miss Joy T. Williams. We will have her on this show soon, and be prepared to be blown away by her as a human. She started a nonprofit, which I'm sorry to say right now I don't remember the name of, but it has to do with feeding people who need help.
Awesome.
And
we got the invitation for that, but we had another meeting that was happening. Couldn't get there, but yeah, I saw a video that Sabrina had posted.
Yeah.
Of her actually performing. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having a chance to meet her.
Yeah. We also had a great time with Sabrina, so it was fantastic.
Well, she's awesome.
She is. All right, it's time for Getting in Your Business. And this week we have with us my friend and owner of Om Indian Groceries, Sudha Maparthy. Sudha, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Give you some woohoo!
Yay! Good to have you.
So you, like I said, are the owner of Om Indian Groceries, and tell us about Om Indian Groceries.
Om Indian Groceries is the place for finding your spices, and also groceries along with it, lentils, different types of rice, you name it. We have we cater to all different types of levels of cooking, I would say. Because if you don't have time to cook or you don't know how to cook Indian cooking, then we have ready to eat food varieties that are available. But if you are planning to explore the Indian cooking, or we do carry Middle Eastern as well as Pakistani spices too. So if you are exploring, then you have either pre-mixed varieties of spices that are available. But if you still want to do take a little long route of making it from scratch kind of thing, then we have whole spices also available.
So what is what's the difference between Indian and Pakistani spices? I mean, obviously there's stuff there, but what would be an example of difference?
I think we mostly eat all the same kind of spices, but maybe the proportion of spices that you use in Pakistani cuisine or Indian cuisine might be different. But the spices that we use are almost the same.
Okay. So it's
a little heavier on one than the other, is what you're saying. Maybe a little different proportions, basically the same spices.
So it's a different blend, basically.
Yes.
Okay. So you also are a cook. You brought us some. So was it yogurt rice and shrimp curry, and
chapati and
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was all very delicious. So,
thank you.
So, that being said, what would the average person who knows very little of Indian cuisine other than curry, the word curry, which is not necessarily only Indian, it could be a lot of things, but someone who wants to get into cooking Indian style food or Indian food proper, what would be your advice to them?
My advice is
come to Om Groceries.
No, I wouldn't say that. My advice to you is not to follow the recipes.
Okay.
Explore it. Like when you feel or touch or taste these spices, I believe that they would talk to you of how much proportion you would add. So explore it and then make your own recipe.
So basically, on that, you were saying that use the recipe as a guideline, but be your own guide, basically.
Yeah, don't stick to the recipe, whatever they say that you need to add this much. But you could explore yourself. Like I believe in my cooking that I use the same thing, that I feel when some spice or ingredient need to be added a little more or less or none at all, it's fine. It still gives you the flavor of the food that you are cooking.
Cool.
Believe in your senses.
It's right. I mean, and to experiment on that too, even outside of the Indian cuisine, you should, if you're going to be a cook of any kind, if it's just for yourself at home, but you take your food seriously, then you should try a lot of different things to see how you like them. And when you're reading a recipe, you'll see, well, I know I don't like that, so I'm going to leave it in for the integrity of the dish, but I'm going to pull back on it because I know I already don't like that. That would be asparagus for me, or as I call it, asparagus.
Okay.
Yeah, which I will absolutely leave out, but I will make it available for those who might be eating with me because I'm sure that they don't mind to eat that nastiness. But yeah, so I agree with that 100%, as someone who just in the last 5 to 6 years has really upped their cooking game. It was all about restaurants and stuff for me before then, and now I have a son who is an aspiring chef who is doing fantastic work in the culinary world. Might have some news on that in the next week or so. Just stay tuned. Yeah,
I'm excited.
But I have learned that there's a lot of things that I thought that I didn't like onions. Used to hate onions, would not eat onions. It was no onions ever. And now I look for things to put onions in. I'm like, onions would go good in this. That's right.
Yeah,
ice cream. See? No, I'm not ice cream. I'm kidding. But
there's a line.
Yeah, there is a line, but it's a fine line. But just stuff like that, because it's an experimentation, and I have a one of my best friends, probably what I would call my best friend, who eats nothing but overcooked meat and no vegetables other than like the ones that he considers like broccoli and Brussels sprouts that most people will like when you talk about that. But I try to convince him. I said, look, man, you don't know what he said. For one, he's a super taster. So he tastes everything, and it's not always the best. So we kid him and say that he eats like an 8-year-old. He wants things that he wants his burgers done to where it sounds like whenever you tap it on the table or the plate, and no vegetation at all on it. Pickles are the scourge of the earth, and all this stuff. But
yes,
I just try to implore him to try something different. You don't have to have a whole everything and put it in your mouth. If you don't like it, don't eat any more of it. But don't just dismiss it. And I think, with Indian food, I think that scares some people because they automatically think it's going to be spicy or hot or just something they don't like. And that's because they listen to what other people have said about it. And then I had it and it was spicy. Well, some of it is.
Yes.
But not everything.
I think,
some American food is spicy.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true, Ray. I think it would be just a myth that Indian food is spicy. Indian food is mostly about using those spices in a correct proportion. Get more flavorful and tasty, and at the same time the main factor of using these spices is for the health benefits. So I would say that these spices can be used not just for making an Indian recipe. It can also be used as a spice rub for the other meat or any other cuisine varieties too. Like whatever your favorite is, you could just sprinkle some spices on there to make it to give you that health benefit part of it. So you don't have to make Indian recipe to use the Indian spices.
So we had a brief discussion about this on Wednesday, but turmeric was one of the things that you recommended for health benefits, and I said always wear gloves because turmeric stains. You will walk around with orange hands. It looked like you've been eating Cheetos. But
you could use a spoon.
Yeah, you can. But the what are some of the other spices, whether they're Indian or not, that you would recommend for health benefits? Other than just because it's not just about seasoning and flavoring, it's about health, like you said, because you're big into that.
Okay.
Because we'll go ahead and give full disclosure. Your actual trade is a scientist. You're a scientist battling cancers. Am I right? Yes.
Yes.
So.
On skin cancer and multiple myeloma.
Okay.
I would say apart from turmeric, which is the most favorite thing for everybody right now during this past month, regarding building immunity or fighting with the COVID or anything that they would say that turmeric would work. But apart from it, this is not a live show where you could see it, but I do have a spice box.
All right.
Where this is the spice box with the different cups holders in it with the whole ingredient. So this is the first ingredient that I would recommend apart from turmeric is coriander.
Coriander, yeah.
Seeds are very good for health. We also use it in powder format as well as raw format, all these spices too.
Now, to be clear, coriander itself does not taste like soap like cilantro does, which is the plant from coriander.
Yes.
I love coriander and cilantro, so I'm not saying that, but a lot of people complain that it tastes like soap. But coriander, the seed, does not taste like soap.
Yes. It doesn't taste like soap. It tastes very good. You could boil water or you could sprinkle the powder on any meat or anything that you are making it. And it helps with stomach problems or anything like that. The other ingredient that I highly recommend would be methi seeds. Nowadays, all of us are having the problem with high blood sugar, everything like this. So this methi seeds would help you. These are like fenugreek, you call that.
Okay.
The fenugreek comes in as a green leafy vegetable too. You could use it like that, or the seed form also you could use, or the powder also you could use. It controls blood sugar and helps body to fight also. So like this, they have we have mustards. We use lot of pepper also, black pepper, white pepper.
Yeah.
We also use cumin seeds, fennel seeds, and a lot of ginger too in our cooking.
Well, I'm looking this up as you're talking, and fenugreek, as you said, is an herb that is similar to clover. It is native to the Mediterranean region, southeastern Europe, and Western Asia. It is taken by mouth for diabetes, for menstrual cramps, for the ladies, high cholesterol, and many other conditions. Yeah, so cool. And you can get that in a lot of spice blends, and it's used as a flavoring agent in imitation maple syrup, and in tobacco as well.
Wow.
Yep, and in manufacturing, they use extracts in soaps and cosmetics. I find this stuff interesting because we think, okay, you just go to the spice rack and pull something out there, but there's a whole lot of uses that we don't necessarily pay attention to outside of just putting it in what we eat.
Yes.
So I just find I would never want to be a botanist or anything like that, but because I just don't have the patience to learn all that. But I do enjoy learning about different uses for everyday things.
And I would also add to this list what we call as the queen of spices is cardamom. Cardamom, we have like green and black cardamom. That is also helpful in regulating blood pressure and so many other health benefits too.
Now, if it was Cardadad, would it be the king of spices?
Oh, but
oh yeah, okay, hold on. I got it.
Either that or a big oh.
Yeah, I need a boo hiss sound effect there. So what is we talked about this on Wednesday, but let's assume that our listeners on this show don't listen to that show. What are your favorite things to cook?
Everything. I would say mostly I love to cook vegetables and make them into very flavorful, and the vegetables by itself are very tasty. So by adding these spices, you don't want to reduce their taste, or you don't want to remove their taste while cooking. So that's my main interest. I'm a vegetarian too. That's also takes role in that. But anything, I love cooking, and I believe that food is a healer by itself. So that's why I try to make something which is healing or helpful to the other person that who eats it, whoever it is.
Ray, you have a question?
For me, Indian food is comfort food.
Oh wow, that's
It's
very nice to hear, Ray.
I love it. Every time that I've had Indian food, I have enjoyed it. One of the traditions that we have in our family for Father's Day is we all go out to an Indian restaurant and eat.
Wow.
Because I just love it. I find it interesting that in Britain, the number one fast food category is Indian food. We haven't caught on yet in this country just how good this food really is. And like you were saying earlier, Tim, it's not terribly spicy. It's not hot. If you want it to be hot, well, then kick it up a notch.
Yeah.
You can do that on your own, but generally it's just good food. I find it interesting that each culture has their own version of comfort food. But every time that I have Indian, it's just that's what I think of is like, oh, this is just good comfort food. I'm going to be really satisfied when this meal is done. It's going to taste good. I'm going to be full, and I'm going to go take a nap.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Sudha, do you eat out much?
Once in a while,
Have you been to Kasturi?
yes.
Did you like it?
In the beginning when they opened it,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Think about that for just a second. How am I going to say it?
Well, one of our listeners we call on this show Street Team Steven and I went and we did a full, I don't know if it was a full tasting, but we tasted till we were full. We did a bunch of courses, and that was, as far as restaurants go, that was the best Indian food that I'd ever had. Now, Stephen has spent time in a lot of Middle Eastern countries. He's spent a lot of time in India. He was educating me on regions of India and the different cuisines that come from each of those places, and so I found it to be quite good. So if you're cooking something that is traditionally, let's say, American, what do you like to cook?
I would love to cook, I don't know, American, you say. But what is American? That's what I couldn't still, me and my son, he's 11 years old, and I'm trying to bring him into this food or culinary field.
Yeah.
And we debate ourselves like, what particularly is American food?
Well, I think you got that right, because we, as Americans, have always borrowed from so many other cultures that it's hard to say, oh, yeah, that's an American thing.
Yes.
Maybe jalapeno poppers.
Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, so I don't know. But where can we find Om Indian groceries?
Home Indian Groceries is is at 1575 Haynes Mall Boulevard, right across CarMax. It's in a small shopping center where it's next to La Botana, AOS Naturals.
Ava's Cupcakes, Tanishi.
Yeah, Cupcakes, yeah.
Yeah. So we implore.
Y'all are just across the street from the theater there as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And the Walmart.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
Walmart.
wasn't
It's
going to
very
mention
good
Wally World.
area. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to avoid that, but I know it's a landmark that some people can know. So, well, so anything that you want our listeners to know about you, about Om, about Indian cuisine, any last things before we kick off?
The first and most powerful form of medicine, or the slowest form of poison. So you choose wisely of what you are putting in your body. And in this last year, it has shown us that taking care of yourself and your health is very important. That has shown in this last year for us. So I would love everyone to stay healthy and eat healthy.
Well, I know I definitely need to get over to see you over there.
Definitely. Yes.
I look forward to that, and I'll when I do, I'll probably take some pictures and post about
Thank
that
you.
and try to promote a little bit.
Thank you so much. I would really appreciate that because as I'm new to this community, I still lack that networking part. And so not many people know about the store, but I'm happy to let them introduce into the Indian cooking a little bit so that they won't be overwhelmed too. And we do offer curbside pickup if they're not able to come right now outside, and that's totally understandable. And we also can deliver it with either third party or ship it also if you are far away from Winston. We do have some customers who come from far distance as much as like 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
But we welcome them all the time. But we tell them also that in case if you can't make it, we can ship it to you also. So those are all the options available, and I also make customized baskets or grocery bag if some people have any health concerns or anything like that. So all those options are available for everyone.
Awesome.
Now, let me ask you this, Sudha.
Yes, Ray.
I haven't cooked a lot of Indian food myself at home. So if I come in to Om, I may be a little bit intimidated because I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If I come in, are y'all able to help me figure out, here's some things that you could go home and try and cook this?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm putting it on the shelves maybe in the next 1 week or so, that we wanted to people not to be overwhelmed. When you see all those spices, then you will feel like, oh, I don't even know what to do with these spices. I don't even know how to cook these lentils or any other groceries over there. Specialty foods also we carry a lot. So you don't have to be overwhelmed by it. We're gladly happy to help you and guide you or make you a basket of it.
So I know you said you're a vegetarian, but it's not just vegetarian stuff at your store, though, right?
No, we do carry a lot of meat stuff, and either in the frozen section with ready available meats. We do have halal meat that we carry. Yes, we do have.
Awesome.
And what does it mean that it's halal meat?
Halal meat is like they pray when they slaughter these animals. So we do carry that. Most of our Islamic friends, they do eat only halal meat. They don't eat regular meat. So
Is that kind of is basically like kosher in a way,
Yeah.
except, not Jewish.
yes,
A purity standard, like you say, they've been prayed over.
Right. Yeah.
yes,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, Sudha, you, in the last week, I've talked to you, well, more than twice, but twice in with our voices, and it's just you're a delight, and I love having you on my shows. And when more things come about that you need to talk about, reach out to me, and we will bring you on here, or we'll bring you on the Less Desirables. We'll do something just to get you some recognition, because people need to know about Om. They need to know about Sudha Maparthy mostly. So,
Thank you.
So whatever I can do to help you, just reach out to me. And if you need a introduction to somebody that that I know, or whatever, I can help you with that too. So, don't be shy about reaching out to me.
I'm really honored to be part of this, and I would leave with the one last thing is the promotion. It's not a promotion, but we started this today with the Women's History Month.
Right.
And I put on my Facebook page also that nominate a woman mentor or a friend and tag us, and we would be happy to give them a goodie bag, acknowledge them with a goodie bag on March 8th, which is Women's Day. So it's for everyone.
That's wonderful.
Well, thank you so very, very much, Sudha. And I can't wait to come see you in the store and talk with you more, and hopefully get to try some more food, because that was delicious.
Thank you. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Oh, you too. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
She is such a sweet person, and that food, man, that was delicious stuff. It was really, really good. And now it's time for some Food Holidays, which is sponsored by Mojito Latin Soul Food, which is Cuban and Latin inspired dishes from brilliant ceviche, empanadas, and street corn, to Cubano sandwiches, steak sandwiches, mojito burger, shrimp and grits, vaca frita, ropa vieja, the quarter, half, and whole. I don't know if whole, quarter and half that I know of, chicken with the mojito sauce on it, whether you want it grilled or fried. All that stuff is just so good.
I bet if you want it whole, they'll bring you whole.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Beer, wine, classic Cuban cocktails. Try the traditional mojito, the Sebastian mojito, or the Cuba Libre. Mojito Latin Soul Food has your, I don't know why I always stumble over that, has your Latino Mohattan.
No, it's not Manhattan anymore. It's Mohattan.
It has your Latino-inspired cravings ready for you. They do reservations. They do takeout. They have a rather large outdoor patio, which, again, the warm weather is coming. And they do deliveries to the surrounding businesses like Fiddling Fish, Broad Branch, and Wise Man. And I'm pretty sure when Bar Pina opens back up, they'll probably deliver to there too. So check them out on their Facebook page and at MojitoLatinSoulFood.com.
I was on my Instagram the other day. There's I do stained glass as a side hobby. And there's a business in Winston-Salem called Camel City Glass. It's a lady that I don't even know her name. I've never met her, but I've seen her stuff on Instagram. She does some really cool designs. It popped up this weekend. She moved here 7 years ago with her husband, who grew up here, but she grew up in Miami. She said, I've missed the food in Miami. She said, I went to Mojito this weekend for the first time. Now I've gotten my Miami fix. She was just going on and on about how amazing the food was and how it really made her think of the food that she'd grown up with in Miami, and just remembering that that's where they were from too.
That's a high compliment right there.
So yeah, I was like, look at there. Somebody else figuring out that Mojito is on the short list of regular restaurants to visit.
Right on. And it should be everyone's short list. Yeah. Well, today is the 1st of March. It is National Pig Day.
You mean the actual animals? We're not like
right. We're not name calling. This is the actual animals. And the
this is not
deliciousness
from the Pink Floyd album, Animals. This isn't that song.
Right. This is the supplier of deliciousness, the pig, who supplies us with ham and bacon and sausage and pulled pork and pork belly and all
Sounds
that
like
stuff.
sounds like we're talking about Mojito's menu. Just saying.
Because they do have a lot of pork. Yes, they do.
And they're really good at it.
It's also today World Horse Day or National Horse Protection Day.
Horse and pigs on the same day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my. It's National Fruit Compote Day, and a day that I can say that this day honors me. It's National Peanut Butter Lovers Day.
Yep.
I
I do
accept.
love you some peanut butter.
I do. I had 3 spoonfuls before I came on this podcast.
What a great way to get a little protein in there and take care of my honey gravy. Just a little spoonful.
Yeah,
of peanut
get
butter.
some
Yeah.
energy going.
I did that this weekend. Was mixing it with a little hazelnut spread.
Oh yeah,
Mixing that up with my peanut butter. Ooh, let me tell you.
that was nutty.
I am.
On the,
Oh, you mean the yeah, that was. Yeah.
On the 1st of March in 1962, the first Kmart store opened in Garden City, Missouri.
Wow.
And there's
Blue
probably
Light
like
Special.
only 3 or 4 left in the country now. So
I was going to say, now they're gone.
on the 1st in 1989, Jack Dietz set a new record for watermelon seed spitting. 66 feet, 11 inches. So why don't you say 67 feet? I don't. Okay,
'Cause he didn't get 67.
That's
He got
right,
66
that's right.
and 11.
that's
But
right.
that's impressive.
That
a
is.
long way to spit.
There had to have been no wind that day, or he turned his back or something. So
Maybe he had a big wind coming behind him. I mean, yeah. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah.
But now, did he spit it straight down? Because, like you go to the top floor of the Empire State Building, you'll get more than 66 feet.
Right.
Look, I got 300 feet with mine. Oh, sorry there, sir.
I don't know. On the same exact day, on 1989 on the 1st, a 75-year-long ban on beer was lifted in Iceland.
Well,
Of
glad
all
they got over
places to
that.
get rid of alcohol. There's only like 370 people that live on that entire island.
I guess none of them wanted beer.
I guess not. Or that shit would have been overturned a lot quicker.
Or they crossed the fjord and got some beer and then came back across the fjord. And
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little longer than a fjord. It's the only thing close to them is the top part of Scotland, which is probably several hours away. So,
no making a quick beer run.
no, I'm sure that people brought stuff back anyway, but yeah. I wonder if it ban on beer in general or ban on sale. It didn't say. Yeah.
But now it's gone, so we don't
No,
have to worry
yeah,
about it.
yeah. For
we
the
can
last
go
32
there and have a
years
beer.
now, we don't have to worry about that. In 2002, McDonald's announced in a press release that it had agreed to pay $10 million to Hindu and vegetarian groups to settle lawsuits over its beef flavoring in its French fries because they failed to tell people that they were putting that in there.
Yeah, and for some folks, that's a big deal.
Ask Suda.
I was going to say, Suda's not selling beef in the store.
How do you
Not
know?
beef products.
No beef products over there?
Well,
I'm sure
guessing.
she doesn't eat it. She did say she had some
Yeah.
meats, but it wasn't the prayed over meat. So
well, yeah. Given that the Indian culture sees cows as sacred,
yeah, true.
they're not likely to make many hamburgers out of them.
Oh, that's true. That's true. On the 2nd of March, it's National Banana Cream Pie Day.
Oh yeah, that sounds good.
I do like me some banana cream pie.
I wonder who's got the best banana cream pie in Winston-Salem.
I don't know. If we had
Random.
access to a food podcaster and blogger, we might be able to find that out in some kind of scientific taste test or something.
Or just even here's 3 places that serve it. Go find out for yourself.
Would work too.
But we didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah, that's true. On the 2nd, in 1903, the 12-story, 416-room Martha Washington Hotel opened in New York City. It was the first hotel exclusively for women, but men could eat in the restaurant.
Well, nice.
37 years ago tomorrow, on the 2nd, in 1984, Ray Kroc's first McDonald's franchise restaurant in Des Plaines, Illinois. That's not Des Plaines, it's Des Plaines, Illinois, closed. It had opened for business on April 15th, 1955, so just under 30 years. There's a movie, did I talk about Founder last week? Starring Michael Keaton as Ray Kroc and Nick Offerman or whatever his name was from Community, and Parks and Recreation. He's married to Megan Mullally in real life. Plays one of the McDonald brothers, and it's basically that story of how he cheated them out of their stuff. And he didn't exactly cheat them. I mean, they sold it, but he wasn't kind to them.
In 1984, I was actually working for McDonald's.
Oh,
Back when I was in high school.
yeah.
It was one of my jobs.
And up until he died, Ray Kroc still maintained that he started McDonald's.
He didn't.
He did
They
not.
did.
Yeah.
He bought it.
Yes. But he says, because whenever they would ask him, oh, yeah, I started this because of blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Revisionist history.
Yeah, exactly. He with the pen writes history, right? And that's what's with the most power.
Yep.
And he did. In 2011, on the 2nd, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service declared the eastern cougar officially extinct. And I guess they hadn't been in bars much since before the pandemic, because there are plenty of cougars there.
Cougar Mart is back in business.
The 3rd of March is National Mulled Wine Day. It's
Sounds good.
also,
Let's do that.
I have you one even better. Irish Whiskey Day.
Okay.
It's
You're right.
every March the 3rd, because Irish whiskey or Irish whiskey is triple distilled and aged for at least 3 years. So it's March 3rd.
3rd month.
Yes.
3rd date. I like it. I like it good.
It's also Canadian Bacon Day, which why don't we just call it circular ham? And
But
and
somehow it tastes different than regular ham.
slightly, it tastes like special ham. That's what it tastes like to me. Oh, I love it. Yeah. It's also National Cold Cuts Day, which could, I guess, technically be Canadian bacon.
Could be.
On the 3rd in 1634, it's either the 3rd or the 4th, Samuel Cole supposedly opened the first tavern in Boston. I know.
Probably weren't a whole lot of people there then.
Probably not. When we were in Boston in 2018, I know we had beverages at the Green Dragon, which is one of the oldest surviving taverns in Boston. But I don't know when it was made. I haven't looked that up. I should have looked that up before I come on here today, but I didn't. So there we go. In 19,
Too, didn't you?
huh?
Didn't you go to Cheers as well?
We did go to Cheers, yeah. Well, where the outside of Cheers was, and
Right.
the Cheers that they tried to make it look like on the inside. It was still cool. I have a beer mug from there that has their name on it, and we did have beer and enjoyed it. It was cool. I have a picture of it. It looked just like the TV show on the outside. In 1939, the college fad of swallowing live goldfish supposedly began on the campus of, get this, Harvard University on the 3rd.
The brilliant children are consuming live fish.
Yeah, the best education that money can buy, and yet what do? They swallow live goldfish.
to what point?
Then
Other than just it's a gross thing.
Yeah. I don't know. It was I'm sure a hazing thing. All those secret societies. So,
Yeah.
you're gonna be in the Skull and Bones. That is Yale, I think, Skull and Bones. But, yeah. On the
Not a live fish. No, thank you. Ugh. No.
on the 4th, it's National Pound Cake Day. Yeah, I like
I'm
it.
good with that.
In 1837, on the 4th, Chicago was incorporated as a city. I love Chicago.
Chicago. Sorry.
It's okay. And while in Chicago, we did visit the Bob Newhart statue, which also includes a bronze couch that you can sit and talk with him about. It was
That's cool.
it was cool. On the 5th, it is Cheese Doodle Day. Yeah. Remember,
We
it
like cheese
could be turmeric, so be careful. If you're expecting cheese, powdered cheese, and it's not, it's going to be a little bit different. Still good, but different. It's also National Absinthe Day.
Okay, there's a day that most of us probably would just let it go right on by.
Yeah, I would like to try some real absinthe, but
Just to say you've tried it.
yeah. I don't know that it would. From what I tell from people, it didn't even taste good. It was purely an experience-driven beverage. From what I know, I could be wrong. Maybe Stephen will correct me with that. Because I know I think he's mentioned that before. He probably corrected me on that too, and that's okay because that's why we keep him around. On the
Keep people smarter than us around.
yeah, Stephen, please tell me what I'm doing wrong. In 1558, on the 5th, Francisco Fernandez supposedly introduced smoking tobacco to Europe.
To think that it's only that far back, I would have thought of much further back than that.
Yeah. 1558. That's a while. In 1963, Arthur Spud Meelan of Whammo received a patent for the hula hoop. It's a great exercise tool, first sold in 1958. So that's what 5 years that they had it without patenting it. That's hard to say. Patenting it. There we go. On the 5th, in 2004, Martha Stewart, business magnate, cookbook author, and TV personality, was convicted of obstructing justice and lying about a well-timed stock sale just before the price plummeted.
I was wondering, it's like you're listing off all these different roles. Are you going to include, inmate?
Yes.
And you did.
That's when she was convicted. On the 6th, Ray will not be excited about this, White Chocolate Cheesecake Day.
Yeah. I mean, cheesecake, love my cheesecakes. It's white chocolate.
Now, here's the thing.
It's just not.
Are you against white chocolate because it's not chocolate, or do you not like white chocolate?
I'm ambivalent about white chocolate. But don't call it chocolate because it's not chocolate.
Okay. It's National Frozen Food Day and Oreo Cookie Day.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ways to drink milk.
It's called flavoring for my milk. What flavor milk is that? Oreo?
As a kid, I used to use a taller glass for my dunking of my Oreos. But then when you lose one, it's at the bottom. You got to go through all that milk. So I've learned, use a short glass.
Or a bowl.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about using
There
a
you
bowl.
go.
Just put a whole bunch of them in a bowl,
Yeah.
pour some milk, and then just
Yeah.
like cereal.
Yes. That's a whole different
Okay.
kind of cookie crunch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In 1899, on the 6th, that big long word that I butchered last week or the week before, we all just know it as aspirin, was patented by the Bayer Company in Berlin, Germany. Although it was patented by them, we know they did not invent it, but they got the patent because the guy who did just forgot about it. Oh well.
Obviously, we take a very different approach to that today.
Yeah, don't put nothing out until you have it patented.
Mm-hmm.
In 1912, it is Nabisco debuted the Oreo cookie. So that's why it's Oreo Cookie Day. Yeah. And the reason it's National Frozen Food Day is because on the 6th anyway, in 1930, retail frozen foods, Bird's Eye frosted foods, go on sale for the first time in a test marketing in Springfield, Massachusetts. Fresh fruits, veggies, meat, and fish were offered for sale to see how consumers would react to frozen foods. Clarence Bird's Eye had developed this method used to successfully freeze food on a commercial scale. The test was a resounding success. And if we are to believe the Foods That Built America series, Bird's Eye was sold to C.W. Post's daughter. And that's C.W. Post as in the competitor of Kellogg's, who basically ripped off Kellogg's to start Post. But Marjorie, his daughter, bought it in 1929 and founded General Foods. So,
Okay.
yes. In 1950, on the 6th, Silly Putty was introduced to the world at the International Toy Fair in New York, packaged in 1-ounce portions in plastic eggs. I have to say, I love Silly Putty. I played with it a lot as a child. I did regret that I used it. Once you use it on newspaper so many times, it starts just discoloring it. And it was like brown instead of that human skin color. So I just buy another one. So,
We used it on the funny pages.
yeah, absolutely. Me too. Just go through it, and then after it absorbs it, and after a while, it's no longer. It's like gray and weird colors.
Yeah.
So, on the 6th in 2012, Rebecca Spite of Dakota City, Nebraska, sold a McDonald's chicken nugget that resembled George Washington for $8,100 on eBay. She had kept the nugget in her freezer for 3 years before deciding to sell it. Why? I mean, not why did she sell it, but why hold it in the freezer for that long? So, am I going to? I don't know.
It'll only appreciate in value the longer I leave it in my freezer.
And you know what? I don't at all blame her for selling it for $8,100. I blame whichever idiot paid that.
Yeah. My stepfather used to, and actually still does, buy and sell antique bullets, cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one day he walked into the living room with this little piece of lead, and he said, "This is worth $1,000." And we said, "Why is it worth $1,000?" He said, "One, this was made before the Civil War, and there's very few of them that have survived. But the biggest reason is I've got some idiot that's willing to give me $1,000."
Yeah. That's why I say, as a record collector, and I look at what my maximum value is on my record collection, then I look at the median value of what my record collection is worth. And I know that those numbers are relevant to a certain extent, but the only thing that matters is how much someone will give me for them.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what they're worth. They're not worth anything until someone pays me for them.
Right. And if they've overpaid, that really doesn't mean that it's worth that. It just means that's what you got paid for.
That's exactly right. On the 7th of March, the Crown Roast of Pork Day, whatever that means, and National Cereal Day.
Maybe not combined.
No.
Unless maybe, I have seen cornflakes like crumbled up, used as a
as a binder, yeah,
Or as a binder, yeah.
or as a topping, right? So, on the 7th in 1876, Alexander Graham Bell receives a patent for his brand new invention, the telephone.
And life would never be the same.
Never. Which is funny, though. There's fewer and fewer actual telephones available anymore.
And more handheld computers.
Yes, absolutely. On the 7th in 1897, Dr. John Kellogg served cornflakes for the first time to his patients at his sanatorium in Battle Creek, Michigan. They wouldn't be sold commercially until 1906 by his brother Will, again, as we found out from Foods That Built America, much to the chagrin of John. He did not want this done that way. He fought it and forbade Will to do it. Will did it anyway. And then there was a big fire, and John was SOL. Then he tried to sue Will because it was his product, and the court sided with Will, and now that's why it's the W.K. Kellogg's and not John Kellogg's company. In 1914, the Coca-Cola Bottlers Association was formed on the 7th. That's your food, holidays, and history for this week. Special thanks to James Eagler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, get Ray going on the joys of white chocolate. Wondering why it's Pig Day and Horse Protection Day. What are we protecting, us or them?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Them.
Yeah.
From us.
Yeah. And Oreos. Yay, Oreos.
The man in general.
Yeah.
Oreos.
The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Beeswax, Vinyl, and more, which is coming soon. Wheeler's Dog and Asylum, Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast, plus maybe a couple more that I may be developing. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. And also find all of those on the Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you find your podcast. Again, subscribe and like, please. This is a reminder to the listeners, and it is good practice, especially now that the stay-at-home order is lifted, and you will be out in public again, probably. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap. Wash with that soap for 20 seconds or more. If you don't know how long 20 seconds is, sing this in your head. So that is, of course, my favorite band in the world, Kiss. And that Shout It Out Loud was released on this day in 1976, a few days before the actual release of the album Destroyer, which was probably their best-selling album.
I was going to say, that was a huge one for them.
Yeah, that was the one. So there's a little debate on what was the most important album in their career. Destroyer is not my favorite album. It's barely top 15. But Alive, which was the one right before it, was a live album that broke them because they had 3 albums before that. Casablanca Records was getting ready to go under. They decided let's put out a double live album, which nobody did at the time. We don't have money for it, but we're going to take a chance. At first, it did nothing. Then they released Rock and Roll All Night as a single from that. It blew up, gave them money, gave the record company money, and they went in and made this album next that had a lot of strings and ballads and all kinds of stuff that people weren't used to, but then it became a major deal. And Detroit Rock City, King of the Nighttime World, God of Thunder, Beth, Shout It Out Loud, Do You Love Me? All those are KISS concert staples to this day.
Yeah.
And all those from this one album. So you can find more tidbits like that knowledge bomb that I just dropped on you on the Asylum Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast that I do with my cousins. And that's cousins with a K, like KISS, every Thursday. So check that out. Asylum Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast. Well, keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send us an email at Tim or Leah or Ray at The Man Who Ate the Town. You can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who ate the Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. And we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast, 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422 NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we will play it on the podcast. Again, 336-422 NUM. Well, very, very special thanks to Sudha Moparthy of Om Indian Groceries for being here with us today, for talking about Indian cuisine, talking about her, talking about the grocery store, talking about the health benefits of certain spices. It's just awesome. Go see her.
Appreciated having her on here. I mean, I've been seeing stuff on social media about the store.
Yeah.
And it's so good to have a connection now.
Yeah.
To know, there's a real person back behind there, and to think that I could go in without knowing anything and say, all right, give me a little hints here. Give me some help. Figure out how do I use this to change up what we're eating and give us some new flavors.
Indeed. And she will be awesome for that. And she's just awesome to know. So go talk with her. Tell her we sent you. Tell her you heard her on this podcast.
Yes.
Well, my name is Tim.
My name's Ray.
I was waiting till you finish your thing. And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas.
And Oreos.
The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the Man Who Ate the Town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.